Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brittany and today we are opening up this box. This is going to be the last of the sale from July. So this order is heavily inspired by Kristen, and I will put her her YouTube channel name on the screen. She talked about an exclusive with Van Ness, and we all know I love my Franklin Christoph, so I had to get that. Plus it's in a very beautiful color. Then she was talking about inks that would go really well with this pen. Now, I'm not normally the person who likes to match my inks to my pen. I don't typically care, but those inks that she shared were also very beautiful and also in the color family that I love. So why not? Plus, I was hearing really great things about Kobe. I mean, I've always heard great things about Kobe, and I don't really have any Kobe inks unless I may have had samples. So I also decided to get a Kobe ink in the same family color. So let's just get started. First, for Kobe, what's the name? So I got one Kobe full bottle and one Kobe sample. And so my full bottle is called Rocco Forest Blue. It's a dark, deep blue from the picture I saw. And I like deep, dark blues. It's those bright, like royal blues that sometimes can throw me off. And it just seems like a ballpoint blue, ballpoint pen blue. So we're going to swatch this. Then Kristen really talked about this ink. And this is the Diamine Blue Edition Peppermint Shimmer. This is it my first Inkvent full bottle ink? I think these are so cute, like the bottles and how they stand. That's adorable. So I'm excited to test this one out. I'll just put that up over here. And then here's the sample. I really wanted to get two Kobe inks, but then I felt like this ink might be really close to the peppermint, Diamine peppermint color. So I figured maybe I should just do a sample. It is the Swedosu G Marche Blue. So it's number 48, and this Kobe is number 70. Okay, last but not least is the fountain pen, and like I said, this is an exclusive with Van Ness. And it's actually in the pen model that I like the most, and I'm just now realizing years after buying Franklin Christoph, the model that I actually really enjoy, or should I say I really enjoy posted. So Franklin Christoph always has this lifetime warranty card. I typically try to save them in like a card box, so I have a bunch of those. And then you almost always get a pen case. They used to have leather pen cases, and I have quite a few of those, but they since changed to this fabric, which is just as well made as the leather one, and they look exactly the same. And this, oh my gosh, this is so pretty. This is the exclusive. So I don't know if they call it a specific color. I would just say turquoisey teal. It looks more green, like the green of my nails, the tip of my nails. The funny thing is I asked my husband if he liked my nails because I do them myself, and he said, oh, he's like, I don't like green. It looks like you stuck your fingers in a leprechaun's butt. So I was like, okay then. Anyway, so it reminds me of that. And every time I look at my fingernails, I think of like leprechauns. But this is model 2, and I got it in the extra fine. The nice thing about model 2 is that it posts so deeply and it makes the pen look more petite than when it's regularly capped. So I'm not sure if it's actually the same size being capped and posted, but it just looks really cute this way. I really like this piece here, the gap right here, how it's so clear and see-through. This is my only other see-through Franklin Christoph. I have one other. The other ones are either opaque or they're black, or they're like a certain acrylic or resin. I really like this. I'm so glad I got it. It feels like it's a little bit more green than blue. I did think that this was from the videos I've watched that this looked more blue than green, and it might be showing that in the camera, but it's actually more green than blue to me. So anyway, let's get started. I want to ink it up, and I'm not quite sure which ink I want to use. So I guess I should swatch my inks first and then make a decision. So I have all my tools. I want to use my cards to swatch these out. I actually want to use these ones. So in my previous video, I talked about this guy, and I've actually like tried to semi-organize my coloring in with my cards. These are not the Wearingle brand. These are actually the nuoto.co brand, and they are relatively the same size. I think the Wearingle are slightly thinner than these. So anyway, I really like this, and I have a lot more room to grow in that, considering all the other samples I've put in there. So let me just get 3 cards. To me, these cards are meant to use the whole card to swatch your ink. And the cool thing about them is that you can see the ink pool, and then you can even, you know, use them for fun and mix your inks and whatnot. This I got from Yosaka. They have so many different little boxes like this, and surprise, surprise, it fits the card. So it just happens to work out that way. Okay, so let's get into this. The only thing about using these cards is that you have to wait for them to dry in order to put the name on the back of them. So if I have colors that are very similar, I have to make sure I line them up and not forget what color belongs to what. So I'm just going to line them up against here, get my paintbrush cleaned a little bit. So let's do blue peppermint. How cool is that? So again, you get to see how the color pools on the swatch card, which can indicate shadowing, shading, sorry. said shadowing. I meant shading when you're writing on your paper. That's interesting. Oh yeah, these are all very similar. This one seems to lean more blue than green though. I can see that. I hope you guys can too. But yeah, this one seems more green. This one seems more blue. So the really nice thing about Kobe inks is that here they are very wet. They are like a pretty well-rounded ink. They have beautiful colors and they have this really nice wide neck, which is also great for inking up any kind of pen. And I like how, you know, I like different glass bottles, but a bottle that just sits completely flat where you don't have to worry about it tipping over and has a wide neck so that you could just dip your pen, like a dip pen for quick writing or long writing, and have it open without feeling like it's gonna tip over is nice. It's a nice feature. So all right. Okay, so we have the Kobe number 70. We have Kobe number 48, and then we have Diamine Blue Peppermint. Now, I can see how this one goes well with Diamine Blue Peppermint. I really like this color, and now considering buying a bottle, and this is also a really pretty color. Like, I knew hands down I wanted a deep blue, even the blue that looks a little bit like it's kind of purpley. So that's gonna be fun just about any pen I own. These two, I'm kind of nervous about how they write, and how light they get. So especially like the light green colors. So I've let it sit for a little bit, and most of them are dry except for the parts that have a bit of extra like darkness. So I'm letting it dry a little bit more, but I'm still unsure as to what color I want to use. And so we need to do further testing. I have my Tomoe River paper out, and let's just ink up my dip pen and do some fun testing. So this is Diamine Blue Peppermint. I hope you don't hear that sound, but my son has found some type of instrument to play. Okay, so Diamine Blue Peppermint. This one has some really pretty shading and how like it gets really dark on the edges of the ink. It's very pretty. And you can't really see it in this sample, but I did see some blue sheen or blue shimmer on here. So I doubt that that would come through on an extra fine pen, but also because it didn't come through on the sample. But it is a pretty color. Now, between Diamine and the Kobe inks, I could tell a huge difference in the way that the ink sticks to the nib. It's a lot more viscous to me than the Diamine. And so it seems like it just kind of grabs onto the nib, and that the ink is going to be, it's going to behave really well in a lot of fountain pens is what I've come to learn over the years, that when an ink sticks to like a dip nib really well, it performs better. So not to say that Diamine wouldn't perform. I know Diamine, I have a lot of their inks and they are very good. But now that I see why people love Kobe and why Kobe inks are probably, you know, are more expensive, is of their formulation and just how it performed. You could see how much thicker it is coming out of the same nib. So I don't know. I like it. Now, as for which ink I should use for this pen, I do think it would go well with any of these. I do like how it looks. It would look with peppermint. However, because I have an extra fine nib, I'm going to go with the Kobe ink number 48 because I think it would be dark enough to see. And that is like the biggest concern. So I'm going to go with my sample. I actually have a couple of other pens I do want to re-ink, and Blue Peppermint might just be one of those that's going to go in there today in one of my other pens. So this is a sample, which means usually for samples, I prefer using a syringe just because it's less messy and less prone to make a mistake when inking. So get my ink. I have my syringe. My syringe is clean. Make sure that when you are like we're using a syringe that you unscrew this part and kind of wet it and let it run through, the water run through both sides to get any of that ink out. All right, so these are blunt. They're not going to hurt you unless there's a lot of force. So they're not super sharp. And typically for a standard converter, you don't really need that much. So I think I have 1 milliliter. This is liquid. I'm just going to keep it like that. I have a little space in there, but that's okay because I know with my syringe I'd have to get some more, and I think that this is a pretty good amount. So there's just a little bit in there. So let's just connect that in. We will let it be, and while we're letting that kind of ink feed the nib, I am going to get my other Franklins so we can just look at them all together. Okay, friends, so here's an example of their older pouches, which was like a leather material, and it has a nice kind of smooth interior. Very similar, the sizes are the same, and it does have a nice interior, kind of smooth, but it's black, and then this one was like a brown, light brown color. So that's how they looked. I have like a ton of them. So these are my Franklin Christophs. And this is pretty much the order I received them. I think I got this way back in 2016, I think. So I don't remember all the model names. They have them on their website, and they can be quite confusing, like getting them mixed up. So this is one of their smaller pocket pens, and it's in the ghost material. So it's an opaque white. And then like Franklin Christoph has almost every model, I think every model in black. And so this is like a typical fountain pen from them with the black shiny material. And then I got this one. I was really excited about this one because I got it with a stub nib, like a 1.1 stub. And it has like that Coca-Cola bottle inside, as it's like a kind of a green tint. The only issue I have with this model is that sometimes, because it's a push cap, sometimes it dries out. But the nice thing about this model is that you can actually ink up the whole barrel instead of using a cartridge converter. Then I got my first number 5 nib, and this one was so pretty, but I had so many issues with the nib getting dried out, even though this is not a screw, or it's not a slip cap to screw on. And I think this was a known issue that they said that their number 5 model nibs do come out a lot drier than the number 6 model. So then after that, I kind of I try to stick with the number 6 size nibs. So this is like the clear, cloudy pen. It's like a 45, I think the model is 45L, and it has similar features with it being clear. But it's really basic, straight up and down. Then back in the day, they had like releases. They didn't have all these in stock all the time. So the Model 25 wasn't always in stock. But when it came in stock, I was like, I have to jump on this because I had seen a Instagram video of someone using it and having the feature of putting the cap here to post, I guess you could say. I don't know if you'd call that a post, but I really love that feature. So I got this one, and it's slightly hooded nib. I think it is a number 5, but because it's hooded, I find that it's not as dry. It doesn't dry out as fast. So I thought that was a really cool feature. So I had this one for, I want to say, 6 months to a year, and then I moved. And when I moved, I misplaced this one, and so I was really upset. I couldn't find it for weeks, and so then I decided to buy another one. They didn't have it in black. Also, I didn't want to get it in black in the event that I would find it, so I decided to go for another color, and I went in with the ghost color, which is the same as this one. And funny enough, it was probably a few weeks after I purchased this that I found this one while doing a YouTube video. If any of you remember who've been following me for a while, but I found it in my Malden because the Malden has a zip pocket, and it was in there. So I was so relieved, but then also a little bit frustrated with myself that I ended up buying the same model again, because I didn't do it very often with expensive fountain, like pricier fountain pens back in the day as I do now. But yeah, anyway, maybe that was like the means to that's what started my whole, okay, I got to get it in this model, and I got to get another color in the same model type thing. But then I decided to go with a model that is, this one's more on the pricier side because of how big it is and how girthy it is. And I decided to go with this one because of, this one would sometimes cramp up my hand for long writing sessions. So I was like, oh, I need to go with the girthier pen. So I decided to go with this one. I forgot the model on this one, but the nice thing is that with all the Franklin Christophs, you can interchange the nibs. Anyway, so, but this one is a lot girthier. These models, none of them are heavy. They're very lightweight. So that was the reason why I went from this skinny one to a super big one. And then at my first pen show, I decided to go with the more colorful, really pretty, sparkly fountain pen. I would say they just didn't have, like when I first started buying from Franklin Christoph, their unique, like colorful pens were very few in between of like the regular what's in stock. And so they would have like a limited run of colorful pens, which is similar to what they have today, but it wasn't as often as they have them. Like I think on their website, they always have some model with a colorful body, but back years ago, they didn't. And it was really like their main colors were black, ghost white, the clear materials, and then a few special materials. So anyway, now this is my 9th Franklin Christoph after almost 10 years, and I'm really excited for this color. I want to get more. I've been meaning to get another one of these in a clear barrel. I just haven't done it yet because I think it'd be cool to see the ink slosh around a clear barrel like this model. But I have this one, and I'm pretty confident that I don't think there's any metal here in this barrel that I can actually fill this barrel with ink if I wanted to and have just a lot of ink in the pen. Anyway, that is my collection of Franklin Christophs. Let's do a writing sample. Hopefully the ink has gone to the nib. Okay, so it hasn't gone to the nib yet, probably because I had it on its side. So I'm just going to jumpstart it and kind of get the ink to jump to the nib by touching ink to the side of the nib. Let's see if that worked. Yep. Okay, the nib writes fine. It's not like super smooth, although I am also on Cosmo Air Light. So this is a Van Ness exclusive. And again, this is an extra fine. And the ink. This is Diamine. Oh my goodness, that's wrong. Ay, ay, ay. That's not it. It's actually Kobe. Soweto Suji. Marche Blue. This is just a sample. I like how it's legible. I'm glad I picked this ink for the first time. Let's see. Kobe Soweto Suji Marche Blue. And I think it works great. All right, well, that's all I have to share with you. Oh, nope, it's not. Let's take a look at my ink swatches. So this one, ooh, is that a little bit of sheen? Oh, it's hard to tell. I'll have to see if this ink has sheen. But that's what it looks like. And that is the ink bottle, this Kobe number 70 ink. And then here's Kobe number 48, which is this one. This has really nice shading. And last but not least is Diamine Blue Peppermint, which has the blue sheen or shimmer. And that's all I have for you guys today. So let me know if you have any questions, and I will catch you in the next video. Thank you for joining me. Bye.